Here.
Oh,
And a Shoffner.
here.
2 vacancies.
Okay. Do we have an opportunity to look over the agenda? Good. I'd like to have someone to make a motion.
I move we adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And we have Brennan.
Ready? Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion. Okay. Not more seconds. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay. That's understood. Okay. Okay. Community lead reports, Sergeant Anton.
Sergeant Anton for Kern County Sheriff's Department. Sergeant Moncur couldn't make it tonight. I didn't know he wasn't going to be here till late. So I just have some quick stats for you guys. Calls for service for July, 728 for Rosamond, 1,962 for East area. For July, we had 44 arrests in Rosamond, 73 for East area, 93 reports written in Rosamond, and 210 for the whole East area. And that's all the stats I had. I didn't know about Marcus wasn't going to be here till late. I also wanted to bring up that Marcus didn't mention last month. We had a heavy presence in Ridgecrest during the earthquakes. Each night and day we had approximately 20 deputies out there assisting Ridgecrest PD and helping with checking areas for problems, getting those problems reported to the right areas, and getting some people out there to fix gas lines, rescue some seniors from some of the homes, and some water lines and other stuff out there. So
Are they slowly getting back to normal?
that's pretty much yes. So, any questions?
Okay. Any questions for Sergeant Anton? Okay. California Highway Patrol.
Here. He was here.
He's outside on the phone.
You might want
We can give him back when he comes in. I'll just leave it open.
Okay, California Assembly Representative.
Hi everyone, for anyone that doesn't know, my name is Brandon Rocan, the field representative for Assemblyman Tonawaki. So I only have a couple things for you guys today, one of which being legislation back in session. We have about another month to go through about 1,000 bills, so this next month's going to be a little crazy. A couple bills we're keeping our eye on currently are going to be SB 55. That's one that the Assembly members have been against because of specific issues when it comes to roadway safety and just public safety in general. Essentially what SB 55 does is extend the hours of purchasing alcohol from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Obviously, studies have shown that there's been an uptick in drunk driving accidents and a lot of public safety risks between the hours of 12 a.m. and 2 a.m. So this increase is going to be a major issue. Currently, it's looking at a pilot program. This pilot program is only going to affect Los Angeles, West Hollywood, and Long Beach. So it won't affect out here at this current time. Obviously, if they see good results with the pilot program, then it would more than likely start to extend statewide. But currently, it's only looking at a pilot program to test the feasibility of it. The other bills we're looking at are going to be AB 161, which is very similar to the plastic straw ban. This one's for paper receipts. So essentially what they're looking at doing is banning the use of paper receipts.
Well, what's the number of that one?
AB 161. Yeah. If anyone's curious, it's from the same author that banned plastic straws. So essentially what it would do, for every day of non-compliance, it's a $25 fine. There's not much more information I have on it besides unfortunately, the way it looks, it's going to put a lot of strain on a lot of mom and pop shops and a lot of small businesses. So that's something I'm personally a little concerned about.
And what does it do to
Especially the ones that have coupons on the back of it.
Exactly.
and what does that do to the people that are not smartphone, computer savvy? How do they get a receipt?
That's the big dilemma. So essentially what they're trying to do with this bill is kick it into where everyone that uses it, like if you guys have ever used Square, whenever you charge your card, it instantly texts a receipt link to your phone or to your email. Obviously for people that aren't tech savvy, that's going to be an integration issue and it's going to be a lot of growing pains in that circumstance. There's a lot of weird issues with this bill that are going to raise their heads if this bill does pass. Essentially, it's lacking a lot of oversight, and there's going to have to be a lot of tweaks to get it to work right if it does pass. The same as, obviously, I mean, the plastic straw bin. That doesn't apply to a lot of different areas. It applies to specific restaurants, but it doesn't apply to drive-thrus. So there's a lot of weird growing pains with bills like this, and that's a major dilemma.
Should we have the logistics to
What
support
impact
that?
does receipts have? It's
It's-
biodegradable.
Yeah, it's another one of the green initiatives.
Do they have the logistics to support that?
That I'm unfortunately not 100% sure on. I haven't really looked a lot into this bill, unfortunately. It's just one that we've been keeping our eye on up in Sacramento to see where it goes. Currently it's in Senate appropriations, so it's at the beginning of the Senate process. So about a month to push that through is going to be a little bit of a stretch, so we're not 100% sure where
I
it's
mean,
going.
I like the idea myself, but is it logistically reasonable?
That's the thing. You're looking at jumping the gun in hindsight, how do we fix it to make it logistically possible? And that's where I'm nervous about, because all the ramifications are not set forth.
Right.
At least with the prior bill I mentioned, SB 55, they're trying to do a pilot program so at least they can test feasibility. Obviously, I'm not for extending alcohol purchasing periods by 2 hours, but a pilot program can at least test feasibility and see if it's even possible. So SB 160, or AB 161, sorry, is going to be an interesting one to keep our eye on. The other one is going to be AB 5. So many of you may know about the Dynamex decision that changed the standard for independent contractors. That's been a really contentious choice, and it's been a major issue for people that drive for Uber, real estate agents, anything along those lines. Anyone that would be deemed an independent contractor, it essentially changed the standard and the test in which we deem whether the person should be an independent contractor or an actual employee. Essentially what AB 5, sorry, I'm mixing up numbers, it's been a long week. Essentially what AB 5 would do would create a retroactive decision and revert back to the original Barrio test rather than the current ABC test. So it would essentially create a carve out for insurance agents, any specialist physicians, dentists, and there's talks that it will go into creating a carve out to help independent contractors for rideshare companies like Uber and Lyft.
But not all 1099, you're just talking about Uber and Lyft entities.
So it's going to affect a lot of different 1099 contractors.
I'm going to hate you at tax time, I'm telling you right now.
You know, hey, trust me.
Just saying.
So some of the ones listed are going to be real estate agents, insurance agents, physicians, hairstylists, freelance writers, artists, any professional service, practice of law, dentistry, architecture, engineering, so on and so forth. So it creates a broad spectrum of who and what would be exempt and where it would go retroactive. Obviously, as it proceeds, we're going to see more of those lists being defined in who's going where. And obviously, amendments can be made after it's passed if it does pass. So it's kind of one of those, it's laying out a basic foundation and then from there it can be altered. It is going to affect a lot of people when it comes to tax time, but hopefully it's going to help a lot of people compared to pushing them to be forced to be hired on as employees rather than preferring to work 1099. And that's essentially what it's referring to.
Sounds like it's shot across the bow for shared economy.
85, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Is that 85?
So we need to talk after the meeting.
AB 5, yes ma'am.
Got sidetracked there for a second. You're talking about the receipts?
No, this one's gonna be AB5. It's for 1099 contractors.
Right, okay, if I just touch on receipts for just a second.
Yes, sir.
I own a car wash. I have people call me up and tell me, your machine didn't give me a receipt. I need it for my taxes. I need it to prove to my employer so I can get reimbursed. If they do that, that's gonna hurt guys like me.
Exactly, and that's a major issue. I mean, even me, for any of my reimbursements for mileage, I use paper receipts.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So that is a major issue that's been brought up on the floor a couple times when it comes to tax season. What are you going to do? How are you going to file for reimbursements? How are you going to approve purchases? Things of that sort. So that is a major issue with this bill that's being looked at currently.
Or I have a customer that'll just say, your car wash malfunctioned and I didn't get the wash I should have, or whatever, here's my receipt to prove I paid for it.
Yep,
They won't have that.
exactly.
Right.
That's why at tax time, if this one passes, either one,
I'm going to get you
I will be
that.
very upset.
Yeah, but it's
Because
different
this is
when
gonna
you're
create a
talking about
whole
the
new
expenses, there's software
issue.
that can track mileage
Yes,
and costs that you can put into it on software.
very much so.
Is there any way you can talk the guy to put in this bill that you need to ban the junk mail?
I would actually be for that.
You know, all kidding aside, that would be a wonderful letter to write to, yeah.
Please.
Correspond
write
with
to
us. Send him a
I would
letter.
love to send that up to our legislature because I'm actually all for that. I'll back up 100%. The amount of, I know, the amount of junk mail, like, it's crazy. That would be a perfect bill,
So
actually.
it's freedom of speech
Yeah. There's,
for businesses,
There's
basically. It's old school advertisement, so.
Where did you say that SB 55,
SB 55 is currently in assembly appropriations.
where is the pilot program?
The pilot, the pilot program is going to apply to City of Los Angeles, West Hollywood, and Long Beach. So it's focusing mostly on metropolitan areas.
And great party towns.
I'm surprised they didn't throw Santa Barbara
Yeah,
in
no,
there.
I see
Well,
this thing.
extending all those hours in those places, we're gonna have a lot of drunk pilots apparently.
Exactly.
No, 8
Isn't that what
hours
that
bottle
means?
to throttle.
And that's the major issue. Like, the way we've looked at it, it's a major public health, or a public safety risk. And actually public health for that matter.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
My pleasure.
I'm going to step back and catch Lieutenant Williams. He just came in just a few minutes ago.
Who's tardy?
Sorry, I was on the phone with my boss. So.
No problem.
Yeah, whatever.
Likely story.
Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Lieutenant Williams from the Hobby CHP. First I want to go with the doom and gloom. As most of you probably know, that we had an officer killed in Riverside a couple days ago. Shootout with a really bad person. The bad guys was killed, one officer was killed, one officer is still in the hospital. He is going to recover. I'm not going to say the words full recovery, but I will say recover. And a third officer was hit, and he's going to have a full recovery. This is our second officer killed within 4 months. Sergeant Lee Cohn, out of the same office, Riverside office, was killed 4 months ago. Was ran over by an impaired driver. There's something we say is drunk drivers kill more people than handguns, and that's a fact. And nobody knows that more than the California Highway Patrol. A lot of our officers are killed working in our office, which is the freeway. So, but there's a couple other things that the Highway Patrol's doing that's good and it's coming out. We've been testing body-worn cameras because we've had cameras in our patrol cars for over 10 years, but they're stationary in the car. And so we can get the audio of conversations, we can get the shot from a distance of the car, but once the person gets out and let's say moves out of view of the front of the car, we no longer have that on camera. So we've been looking at the body-worn cameras, so now we can get two perspectives. We can get the car perspective and then the officer's perspective regardless of where we move to. So there was two test areas. One was in Stockton and one was in Oakland, and nothing but great things have come out of this. So our department, is looking at the cost. We have, over 7,500 officers, that work patrol, and it's a lot of cameras, it's a lot of data, it's a lot of storage, it's a lot of personnel, it's a big cost. But that's something we're looking at, and I'm actually pretty excited. Hopefully we do go with it, because again, it's all about transparency. And it's nice that we can show the video of things and squash a lot of rumors and lies and things that are being said when we can actually show the footage and go, look, here it is. So, roadside marijuana testing. Bakersfield CHP is a test area for this, and basically
when we check somebody for alcohol, we have what's called a preliminary alcohol screening device out in the field, and we have somebody blow into it, and basically it just shows the existence of ethyl alcohol. So when you go to court and you testify, you say, I smelled it, I saw it, and the machine said it existed. And then we use an actual chemical test at the jail that's maintained by the crime lab that tells us the value, right, of where they're at for alcohol. So for marijuana, we have an officer that'll testify that I saw it, I smelled it, and now we're testing a tool that we can swab and it'll say there's presence there. Obviously, it's not going to tell us level of impairment. There is no, like alcohol, we have 0.08 is a level. Once you're at 0.08, you're assumed to be impaired. They haven't come up with anything like that with marijuana. There's no nanograms, but this is just a start of a tool to help get us through the court system, because if the person smoked it early in the day, it may still smell on their clothes, right? That's going to be part of the argument. But if we can swab and say there's an actual existence that's recent, then that just helps us with our prosecutions.
Is that only for smoke, or is that for edibles, or?
Great question. I believe it's strictly for the THC. So whether it's an edible or inhaled, if the presence is in the mouth, it will detect that. So, and again, it's just another tool. It's not something that's going to say, It's basically just going to add to the officer smelled it, he saw signs, and the machine said that there was something there. That's all. School's back full, and I've sent officers out here in Rosamond and in Tehachapi over the last 2 weeks. We've done 2 different things. We've done crosswalk safety with the officers, and then we've put an officer in the school bus with another officer trailing, and as the folks are driving past the school bus, once the stop sign's out, the officer is calling out the vehicle description, and my other units are chasing the cars down and writing them tickets. So we did go out on our social media, and we did a PSA basically saying, hey, remember, this is when you can and cannot pass the school bus. And
Thank you for that, by the way, because that saved me from a ticket yesterday.
So, yes.
Confession's good for the soul.
So we are trying to educate and enforce at the same time. So we're out there trying diligently with that. In addition to not just the schools, but we have 2 different types of special things we do. We have what's called special enforcement days. And what that is that's a day where we grab everybody we have and we go to a particular area that's a problem area, and we hit it really hard for a few hours. And then as calls for service come up, we obviously dissipate and it goes away. And then we have what's called saturation patrols, and that's a day where we tell everybody we're going to focus on a particular violation. For example, we've had a lot of fatalities lately where folks are not wearing their seatbelts. And so we'll say, okay, on Thursday, one of your main goals is to write seatbelt tickets and educate the folks they need to be wearing them. And so I always try to do at least 2 of those every month. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to remember, I have 11 communities that I'm patrolling. So I'm trying to reach out and touch each community every month with that. So there's some times where you'll not see us, but then there's other times all of a sudden we're all over the place for a couple hours efforts in certain areas at certain times. Just to try and do a better job out there. I am reaching out and doing something different. I'm actually asking my bordering areas to help me, and in return I'm going to help them. So by doing that, instead of having 5 or 6 units, if I could get Antelope Valley to give me 2, Barstow to give me 2, Bakersfield to give me 2, then I can really beef up my numbers for a couple hours, and then they can go back to their respective areas. So that's a little outside the box thinking, because that's not normal for us, because each area has their own unique problems, and we basically keep our own area clean. But I think doing that, I'm going to get more bang for my buck. Our social media, we're over 10,000 followers, which is pretty cool for us. It took us a while to get there, but I have a new public information officer, and he seems to be doing a phenomenal job. If you guys have any requests for anything special you'd like for us to continue sharing on our social media, let me know, and I will do my best to get that up there. There has been a request constantly about our arrest stats and certain things like that. I've ran into some concerns about what we're going to release We have different regulations than the sheriff's departments do. The sheriff's department is a booking agency and they release booking information. We are an arresting agency that books, but our stuff is a little bit different the way it's handled, so I can't necessarily air as much as other agencies can. So I'm still reevaluating that and seeing what I'm allowed to put out when it comes to arrests and charges. And I can put out specific events with specific details, but I have to be very careful on what I release as a whole. So other than that, if you guys have any other suggestions for me, let me know. Just, the social media, I think we're doing a good job. We've been doing active shooter training with the schools, the sheriff's department, myself, the FBI. We've hit most of the schools in eastern Kern County. We've done active shooter training. We continue to do the training because it's a matter of when, not if. It's unfortunate, but it's reality. And there's one thing I'm telling folks, is we can't come out to all your businesses or your organizations and do all that training. It's very labor intensive, but there's some really good resources out there on YouTube. There's a philosophy that we're following that's called run, hide, fight. And that's something that we're teaching people when there's an active shooter. Your first operational thought should be running, you should be hiding, and as a last resort, you should be fighting. And so there's a lot of different videos out there on YouTube. There's one that was produced by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I'm not plugging them, but that is one of the better videos. There's a lot of videos out there. There's some that has been done by the state. There's some that's been done by the feds, all under that same concept of run, hide, fight. But LA County Sheriff's Department did a really good job on one video that's about, I think, 18 minutes long. And it's a little graphic, but it grabs your attention because an active shooter is graphic, and it is serious, and it is bad. And so why water it down? Let's call it what it is. And so if you guys want to watch the video yourselves, learn from it, because there's aspects of being in a mall, being in school, so it gives you different perspectives on how to protect yourself when something bad happens. So,
if there are several of those that you find useful, maybe putting a list together that you can hand out to give to our press folks and having it on your social media site, and encouraging them to. Yeah,
I'm a little concerned about pushing non-highway patrol sanctioned stuff, but I'm giving you the reference on where it is. So if you want to go onto YouTube and look for these,
or
choose
just
for
getting
yourself.
some research, you can just say, if you want to learn more about
run, hide, fight.
Yeah, run, hide, fight.
Run, hide, fight. Search that.
Do a search on these words, and then
yes.
And
then yes, sir.
Just to be a little bit off the subject. When are we going to start patrolling Rosamond Boulevard between, I'm going to say, 20 minutes to 6, and after that, for the kids being out there for the school bus, and the way these people that work at the solar yard going speed down there. Now this month, I got hit twice coming off my street. I live on 100, and I'm making a right-hand turn to come down here into town. And they're right there starting to pass the car around. And people say, call the sheriff's department. And that has nothing to do with the sheriff's department. Highway patrol runs the highway.
So to clarify your question is, we just finished a contract with the solar field because they were concerned over their people as well. And we've written several hundred tickets over the last couple months out there. If you guys drive anywhere from 90th and 170th, I've had highway patrolmen out there multiple times, different times of the day, writing tickets left and right. So we've been saturating. So that has been addressed. Listen, people are going to drive badly. Whether we're there or not, they will drive past us.
I see them go 90 miles an hour down 100th Street down there because they want to go under the yard.
And then, like I just said, we are hitting the schools as well with multiple facets. So we are addressing it. You guys have to understand too, those are high busy times for us as well. So when my officer gets out there, all of a sudden we've got an overturned car at Don Road. Unfortunately, he's got to leave and go to that. And then and by the time he comes back, commute's over. So now we got to change our direction and go somewhere else. So, life is what life is, but it is a priority. We are addressing it. We've been logging a lot of hours out here. I mean, that may not look like it, but we have it.
so in answer to your question, they've already been doing it.
Yeah, but
Well, I haven't not
People
seen
drive
it.
bad.
Bob didn't get the email. That's
People
right.
drive
I did not get it. I always get it on.
I think you guys are out somewhere just changing it. I told you, Bob.
I'm on
You're out
Facebook
there.
all the time. When they come out there. You say Anton all the time, but he's busy working too. He's seen my town once in a while, doing his elderly folks. Highway patrol is the same way, you know. I could talk to others going in there. You understand it? They're not watching it in front of the town in the school there, and it's 45 miles an hour. Except the kids going to go on 20 because it's a 4-lane highway. Boom, they don't care. They're going down that street like a bat.
I agree. So, and then lastly, we are looking for senior volunteers. So if you're 55 or older and you want to volunteer with the Highway Patrol, we're looking to bring in 10 more people. Right now we only have 2. And so if you become a volunteer with us, you can either work in the office and help us with office functions. You could work our patrol function where when we get citizens complaints, the volunteers go out there in our cars, no guns, and they'll monitor that area and document the incidents that they see, and that helps us kind of streamline of where we need to send our resources after that. So if they go to an area that has no violations, then we can continue going there with the volunteers and not send an officer, but then if they have another area with a lot of violations, we can send our officer over there. So
It's kind of like no suspect, no evidence.
and no crime.
Negative.
So anyhow, if you want to become a volunteer, if you come into our Mojave office, we have applications right at the very front counter. And if you have other questions, go on our social media. If you message our Facebook, my public information officer will be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Okay? I know I took a lot of time, but thank you.
I know Sergeant probably needs something for Kern County, huh?
We tell
The
them
ride's a lot
volunteers
shorter.
to-
It's CHP Mojave. If you're searching social media, that's how it's posted.
The main reason I came in here tonight was to talk about those white pylons when you're coming off the freeway by AMU.
They've just been replaced.
I know, those are a nightmare. Yesterday, a couple days ago, I'm coming off the freeway and someone from the left-hand lane makes a right-hand turn right in front of me to get down B Street, I think it is. If I hadn't anticipated, because I've been riding a bike for a long time, I anticipated their move, and sure enough, they did it right in front of me, so I didn't get hit. But isn't there a lot more accidents now right there since that's been put up?
So we've been monitoring that, and I will tell you that our priorities are fatalities, injuries, property damage, okay, when we're looking at collisions. When you're looking at roundabouts, and when you're looking at that, that's where you have to look at what you're getting. We were getting very serious, as in life lighting people out, dying before those pylons went up. It was very extremely dangerous. Since the pylons have gone up, we've had more property damage collisions where they've hit bumpers, and we've had no life lights out of there, no near fatalities, very minor injury collisions at that intersection. And some of the ones that we had to go back and double check. And when we put the computer data in there, it also was logging folks that are coming westbound and people coming out of Glendower, and that was getting into our stats too. So we had to go in there and weed it out based upon whether it was the pylons or the other folks coming. And so our injuries have been reduced significantly, which is our main goal. We're looking at saving human lives, and if we're denting some extra cars on it, it's better than the factor of losing lives. And so there's still a lot of people that are coming in there and trying to shoot over the APM, and they're causing disasters, and I mean, they're just messing up traffic. And I feel really bad for Foster's because they've always got cars in their parking lot with tents on it, waiting for Highway Patrol for a report. I mean, I feel bad for them. But unfortunately, you have to remember that that was triggered based upon the community coming in here, bringing it to the RMAC. That was triggered by the community complaining to Caltrans, and the community complaining to the supervisor, and the community complaining to the Highway Patrol. And so we had to take that complaint, and we came in here over a year ago, and we met with the RMAC. We had multiple versions of what would have been best to do. This was with county roads and with there was a lot of people complaining. It was a huge push for it to happen. We came up with multiple different suggestions of how we could redo that. This is a Band-Aid. This is not here forever. Okay, we're looking for some funds to redo that whole intersection, that whole ramp. So that's in the future. That's going to be completely redone later on. But this was a Band-Aid that the public asked for, and that we had to give. And so I mean, some people like it, some people hate it.
Yeah,
It's working.
I agree something had to be done. but if I may offer a suggestion, maybe you already thought about it, why not just put a stop sign on the exit? Because cars are coming off that exit all day long doing 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to make a left
Good
out
point.
of B Street, it's really bad, it's scary.
So that was,
Especially if you're on something smaller.
that was one of the proposals. But the engineers, the fire department, and the highway patrol, all of us agreed unanimously that the moment we stop that traffic that's coming in, it's going to back up onto the freeway. We're going to have cars at 80 miles an hour slamming into each other. I would rather have cars, bumpers, hit each other at 25 and 30 than 80 miles an hour on the freeway. Remember, when they designed this initially, the base was not as civilianized as it is right now.
Sure.
So the traffic that they had designed this for, what they understood was going to be here, was much less. They didn't anticipate as many commuters coming from Lancaster, Palmdale, and there. Since they've civilianized so much out there, all that extra commute traffic coming in is just, it's insane. And so if we were to stop that traffic, it'd be an absolute nightmare.
I think it might be for a day or two, but then as soon as the people realize the stop sign is there, when they get off on the avenue way into the Sierra Highway and disperse some of that.
We said that with the cones. We said after a couple of weeks, they would figure it out in a different route, or they haven't.
I think this is the second or third time we've had to add cones back into there.
Oh, more than
Keep
that.
driving
More
over
than
them.
that. No,
So they're not
freaking-
learning. They're
No,
just not.
it's an ongoing, I believe monthly they come out and do something.
Now you've got a 24/7 hazard, whereas before you only had a hazard for like an hour in the morning.
But we're saving lives. So that's more
Yeah.
important in my
I
opinion.
live over
There's
there
no
now,
perfect
and
solution,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Not yet. The perfect solution is coming when Caltrans has the money to redo that ramp, because that is one of their plans. We've sat down many meetings with them. Sergeant Anton's been there with us. I believe, Bill was with us at one of the meetings, and it is a plan. They're doing it. This was just a temporary Band-Aid to preserve some human life until they can get some money ready to finish that intersection. So it's going to be much better in the future.
Well, you're not supposed to turn right there, if you're coming east on Rosamond
Correct.
Boulevard, you're not supposed to.
Turn left onto Glendale, correct. And they even changed it to where if you go up to
No,
the
but
top
I
of the
mean right
light.
onto B Street. Yeah.
Oh, you mean if you're on?
If you're coming east,
Uh-huh.
you're not supposed to turn onto B Street, not a right turn.
It's just
Because
not
you
that hard to
have
go down one more block and come around.
Yeah, but they're in a hurry and they take the left lane and just turn right in front of you.
Well, that in a hurry causes a lot of problems.
I'm
Just like
looking up here today to talk about it.
And we're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Kern County Supervisor, Laura, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, my name is Laura Lynn Wyatt, I'm with Kern County Supervisor's Ex-Prisoner's Office. I just have a couple of things. Lieutenant Williams took up most of my time, so.
Here we go.
I supervised her husband for 5 years, so.
And lean on top of it, right?
She's getting
I'm
better.
sure I owed him one. I just brought a couple of things for you. I've got some numbers for you regarding the pool that you asked for. I also have an email following up with regards to the pool. The accuracy of those numbers are still being worked on. However, it should give this board a starting point, something to start working on for projecting your numbers. County has projected about a $200,000 annual operating cost in their numbers. CSA provides approximately $107,000 a year operational costs. As they get closer next summer to actually opening the pool, they expect they're going to get you better numbers, tighter numbers, okay? One of the big questions that was proposed is, has the county ever partnered with a private company to help offset some of those costs? And the answer is absolutely. And I would love to help you kind of mediate and make some introductions if I can. I've got some ideas of some companies that maybe you could look at. So I think that that's something that we can work on together. So hopefully that's a start for you guys. Let's see. We have also approximately $43,000 in Quimby funds. for the park's additional repairs. I know Lisa, I think you brought up the playground needing to be cleaned up and everything. Yes, I'll get to that. I have answers for you too. Okay, and then Lisa went before the Board of Supervisors last Tuesday regarding the homeless population here in Rosamond. As you all know, you live here, we all notice it has increased dramatically recently, right? County Homeless Collaborative is in the process of restructuring and aligning services with the needs county-wide. The governing board meetings currently take place on the last Wednesday of each month, so we encourage everybody, if you want to take part, if you want to help with the homeless situation, if you have some ideas to share, please make sure you pay attention to that. Jose Gonzalez is our homeless outreach coordinator. If there's any specific items, hygiene products, you know, shoes, socks, gloves in the wintertime, anything like that, he would be your point of contact. So we can definitely start working on some of that. Jose Gomez is out of the County Administrative Office building in Bakersfield.
Gomez or Gonzalez?
Facility or something along those lines, getting them the help they need. So yes, you are correct. That is absolutely something that is being worked on right now throughout the entire state of California, I believe.
Yeah, the other thing too is the just not lack of facility, I mean, at least in this local area.
Yeah.
That's a statewide issue.
Yeah, because I deal with the seniors and there isn't enough senior housing.
Right.
You know, there's always a big waiting list and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And our veterans need to be taken care of. So there's a lot of elements to it, but it is at the forefront of the county's attention, and I do plan to follow up with Lisa further to get some more questions answered for you guys. But hopefully that helps with the pool, gives you a starting point, and let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.
What is the predominant
thing for you, Laura?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
Just one thing. Make sure you're also catching the community of Mojave also. There's a kind of a group of homeless that are just on the outskirts of Mojave.
Yes, and there's a big issue at their senior center facility as well. And I am there once a month. I have been working with the seniors and the chamber there in Mojave as well. Absolutely, but thank you for mentioning that.
It is definite that the pool will be open next summer?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the major expense of a pool? Is it water, is it chemicals, is it supervision?
Two pages?
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost
No, I mean,
all
is
of,
there a thing like a pie chart on there? that
Well, there's
says
probably,
Right,
I'm
it's
sure
almost-
labor's a big
Page one and page two, okay.
it's almost all of the above, but
Okay.
most of the pools within our county are extremely old, and the pumps are not energy efficient at all.
So electricity.
Very expensive, and then if a part breaks, to find that part to replace it
Mhm.
is, you know, a needle in a haystack, which means they can charge a lot for it. And, you know, you wanna make sure you've got good top-of-the-line certified lifeguards, so.
I understand the importance of having a pool, because I had red eyes like a rabbit most of my young life.
Yes,
But the thing is that was incorporated with a YMCA. I
Right.
just had a high schooler come and do some yard work or whatever.
Mhm.
I said, they're like, what do you do? He says, going back to school. So what do you do in the summertime or whatever, what do you like to do? So there isn't a lot to do around here. So there's no boys, girls club, none of
Absolutely.
that.
yes.
You know, that's kind of, you know, like if there's a place for them to go ahead and be able to do their thing.
You are correct.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on Measure R attachment. I took the lead on that, and I failed miserably because the residents voted they would not spend about $11 a year additional on their property taxes to have a pool and community center. It lost by an overwhelming amount.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You know, if you were successful or whatever, that'd be good.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, that seems to be the deal, like where do kids go?
right,
Because the elements are pretty, it isn't like
Yeah.
you're down at the beach or just
Yeah.
meet at the sand.
yeah.
you
There's
know?
a need and there's a want,
Yeah.
but
I don't
there's
know,
not
like
a
pools
desire
being
to open
big.
the pocketbook, unfortunately, and that's what the county and the state and many, many communities, probably in the nation, are up against. But some are very fortunate, and they have beautiful community centers and Ys and things like that.
You know, even, I guess even places where they can hang, or kids can hang,
Yeah.
listen to music and
Yeah.
do what kids
Foster
do.
Freeze, why not go hang out at Foster Freeze?
Yeah.
Ice cream.
Yeah. Anything else for me? Yes, ma'am.
Do you need to imply that the county will reassess homeless funding? Do you need to imply that the county will reassess homeless funding only after the next point in time?
Right now, they're not increasing the budget right now today. Because they have their numbers, they set their budget. So, yes, in a way, but at the same time, they understand that there's a problem, so they're tapping into other funding sources such as CLIP. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosamond Community Services District, Brent, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, can I take a moment to get on a private soapbox before I start my report?
The private soapbox
break or something, or you?
No, I want to say something, but I don't want to say it as a board member of the RC.
Okay, all right.
My private feelings.
Okay.
You know, I just wanted to address something. Lieutenant Williams, when he was talking, you know, there's some things that have been going on in our country that it just really made me sick to my stomach. You know, we had a CHP officer gunned down, you know, at a traffic stop. We had 6 Philadelphia police officers just shot. New York police officers are having water dumped on them. You know, it's time for the silent majority of this country to start showing respect and support, open support, and drown out these voices and these people that are, you know, treating our officers, our men and women in blue, terribly. I saw a deal on the news in Philadelphia where there was a group of people jeering and laughing and mocking the police officers while they were in that standoff in the shootout. And you know, I would like to encourage everybody in this room. I know everybody in here respects the police. I've seen the support in this room, sitting at that board, sitting out here. I know it's in this community, big. But I would love to see something sweep this country. You know, I have been out with Bill and Dennis and walking into a Shell station, you know, to get a soda. And they're wearing their veterans hat, and people will say, "Thank you for your service." And you know what? Why can't we, when you see a police officer that is not, if he's not busy, you know, doing something, and he doesn't, you don't need to distract him. If he's just or not writing a report or whatever, take a moment and walk up to him and just say thank you. And if people start doing that all over this country, it's going to send a message to our men and women in blue that the majority of this country backs them and supports them. So when the knuckleheads show up that want to do things to them, mock them, laugh at them, throw water on them, it makes it a little easier to take, because they know that the 90% of the people in this country back them, so it makes it easier to put up with the 10% who don't. And with that, I will get off my private soapbox.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. Okay, now.
So how are you gonna stop social media? You know, because that's what's going on with the kids. They're wanting likes and stuff like that.
You can only do what you can do personally. And if you just take the time, you can't worry about what other people do, what other people say.
No, but if you can go ahead and harass these guys and sit back and take pictures of it and put it up on the web, then it goes to a mass audience. You know, it's not communal anymore. It's not just local. So that's the difference, is the social media. People are doing stuff for likes, because they feel so disenfranchised as young kids. They
You
don't even
know,
want to talk to each other.
I
They go to
don't
McDonald's,
know,
press
I
a
don't know
button,
the
get
solution
something
to
to eat.
it, but I do know that when I see a police officer, I'm gonna walk up and I'm gonna say thank you.
You know, that's an individual thing, but I think more than anything else, you guys would like to see assault rifles go away. You don't need to have that. You don't need to, now, that's what I think, my personal.
Okay, now, back to being a RCSD board member. We've got some good things going on at the RCSD. We just, we sent out the bids for our wastewater treatment plant expansion. And we are also arranging financing and getting that done. We've got our application before the water master. It looks like we could conceivably break ground around October. And we should have our water master permit, our financing, everything kind of all coming together in mid to late September, early October. So we're doing good there. We just signed, approved last night, the contract with Southern California Edison to go and convert all of our street lights to LED. And what we're doing with that is that, yes, there is a cost, but Edison bears the entire cost of it, and then we, as a community, pay it back over 20 years. But with the savings we get from the LED lights, there's no upfront money from this community, no out-of-pocket expense, and with the savings, we will save about almost $7,000 a year from first year. And that is an ease on everybody's pocketbook. And then once, after the 20 years is passed and all the upgrades and infrastructure is paid for, it's going to be close to, don't hold me on this figure, about $17,000, $18,000 a year savings in electrical fees. So it's a great thing for this community. I know street lighting has been a big thing, and we've been working on this since I reached out to Edison back in February, and staff at the RCSD has been putting this together, and finally came to fruition last evening.
I got two questions for you.
Yes.
The $17,000 to $18,000 in savings, does that account for growth erosion?
It's going to be, right now, it's based upon what we have today.
So it's frozen.
Well,
No,
but the point is that any new street lights that go in will be LED from the get-go. There won't be any retrofit charge on those. And so.
LED with solar or actually?
LED.
Just LED?
LED. And see, you gotta understand something that, under state law, Rosamond Community Services District is the public agency that Edison bills for the street lights. All the street lights are owned by Edison, the wiring, the poles, the easements, everything belongs to Edison. All they simply do is send a bill to the RCSD, we pay it. We have lighting and assessment districts on everybody's property tax. That money is what pays the energy bill for the lights. Going with this LED program, it's going to lower our existing cost so much that even though we are paying for the infrastructure upgrade over time, with Edison putting everything up front, we're still going to realize almost a $7,000 a year savings on electricity. So
they handle the maintenance, so this is
really
everything. Electrical reimbursement.
Right. So anyhow, I think it's good news. People have this street light thing has been going on for a long time, and I think we finally came up with a solution here that's going to it's a win-win for the entire community.
If it's all owned by Edison, there's going to be money saved. They're going to save money, so why are we paying for it?
Okay, you have street lights in the community. Okay, they don't care whether the lights are incandescent bulbs. They don't care whether they're sodium bulbs. they LED. It makes no difference to them.
It doesn't save them money.
It's not saving them any money, it's saving us money.
But if it costs them less energy to keep them going, and they still charge us the same
But
rates, they're
the
making
point
money.
is that it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
We have the lights cost a certain amount. Right now, we're paying up here. When the LEDs, the bill's here, this is what the bill's gonna be. And this is, community's paying this, the community's gonna be paying this in the future. Community wins.
Yeah, because LED is just so much more efficient.
I agree.
They last longer.
I just don't understand why
Yeah, because
we're
all these
going
sodium
somewhere
lights and
else.
all that's old technology.
Okay, so going back to topic, the waste management plant expansion, where are we currently with its capacity and how big are we going? I know this should probably come up.
We're going, right now, our capacity in that plant is 1.2 MGD. That's what we're bringing in an influent. And we're going to be, after you take out the BODs and everything in the water, we're going to be processing about 1.1 MGD. And that is what the plant is going to be set up for, to process and then percolate into the ground for groundwater credits.
Give me those numbers again if you would, please.
1.1 MGD.
And what are we currently at?
Well, that is our influent. We're going to be treating 100% of our influent coming in today. But in reality, even though about 1.2 comes in, by the time you remove the BODs out of the water and everything else,
What's
you're
a
going to end up
BOD,
with
just for the unemployed?
biosolids.
Okay.
You're going to be having your, you're going to end up with about a net of 1.1. And that's what the plant is looking at, treating and producing daily.
Thank you.
And that water is just going into the aquifer and,
Yes, it's going to percolate into the aquifer.
okay, but it will never really become drinking water again?
Yes, it'll be drinking water.
Oh, so it'll go into the well system and all that?
Well, what it'll do is the percolation process alone will treat it to the drinking level status. And we just got our permit back in July from the Lahontan Regional Water Board, and trust me, they're not going to let us put a drop of anything into that aquifer unless they are 150% positive.
No, I know there's the technology that's actually from your urinal to the tap is available, but obviously nobody likes that. But, you know, there may be a point in the future.
You know, we're going to be doing public education, and at another time, I will be happy. You know, I'll probably be giving a lot of the public education, and I'll talk water reclamation and sewage treatment with you all day long and answer everybody's questions. And probably within the next few months, we talk with Bill about getting maybe some reclamation training going on for the community. Now, last month, I was given a newspaper article about billions of gallons of water being pumped out of the Mojave Desert and going to the city of Los Angeles down below. And I hadn't heard anything about that, but I promised you guys that I would look into this and come back with a report on it this month. Okay, what that is called, it is called the Cadiz Water Project. The actual name is Cadiz Valley Conservation Recovery and Storage Project. It's been in the works since 1992, almost 3 decades. It's located in the Mojave Desert east of Barstow. And what the plan for this was is that Cadiz Incorporated, they bought land that incorporated the Finner Basin. And in the Finner Basin, over thousands of years, there's approximately 17 to 34 million acre-feet of water underground in the Finner Basin. But the only replenishment that basin gets It's from the sparse rainfall that hits that area of the Mojave Desert, and it slowly percolates into the ground. But like I say, that vast amount of water has taken thousands of years to accumulate. These is, their plan has been to pump the water 43 miles to the Colorado River Aqueduct, which is a tributary for the Metropolitan Water District. The people that are backing this up, interestingly enough, it's the Metropolitan Water District and their 26 sister agencies, member agencies. And 2 U.S. congressmen are very big in favor of this project. Mimi Walters and Linda Sanchez. Mimi Walters is with the 45th Congressional District, and her area covers Irvine, Tustin, Rancho Santa Margarita, and that area is out there, Laguna Niguel. And Linda Sanchez is from the 38th Eastern Los Angeles County and portions of Orange County. So of course, their districts are going to benefit big time from this water coming from the Mojave Desert into those areas. Now the thing that I looked at, that this has been in the court system. The state has opposed it. The state's been fighting it. They've got people on their side that say that it's not going to damage the aquifer. They just got a court ruling a couple of years ago where an appellate court did say that they do have rights to 50,000 acre-feet of water per year. And that comes out to 16.3 billion gallons of water. Now, I've used through decades of court battles and mixed environmental revisions. There's been a lot of people that have, on both sides have been against this plan. Senator Dianne Feinstein has been a big opponent of this. It looked like they had cleared most of their legal hurdles, and we're going to actually be able to maybe move forward with running the pipeline to the Colorado Aqueduct. But just last month, late last month, Senate Bill 307 was passed. And essentially what that did is that put a huge roadblock in front of the Cadiz project, that they are now going to have to go through a whole lot more hearings, and it's going to be tied up for years with this. So that's the history of the Cadiz project. And the reason I went into so much depth on this is that, like I said at the last meeting, this is not going to affect our basin here at all. We live in a closed basin, an adjudicated basin. They could pump water out of the Cadiz basin until the cows come home, and it's not going to affect us one bit. But I do feel that if you take 50,000 acre-feet of water out of a basin every year, you're not going to replenish that water, even though there's 17 to 34 million gallons of 17 to 34 million acre-feet of water. Just take a look at the Owens Lake, how that dried up. The city of LA just pumped and pumped and pumped. And aquifers do get damaged. I know firsthand from our aquifer here in the Antelope Valley, when our aquifer was in overdraft. 15-year lawsuit I was involved in from start to finish. So if you don't have people fighting to keep water where it should be, and not just being pumped out to be sent down below, over time, that area of the Mojave Desert will get depleted. It will hurt the environment. And So I would encourage people to read up on this project and, you know, send letters or emails to Assemblyman Lackey. Tell them that you oppose it, or you might approve it. You might be in for it. I don't know. But educate yourself on this, because even though we're an adjudicated basin here, most people don't live in adjudicated basins. And so if things aren't done to stop water grabs, it could affect our neighbors, you know, down the road. So anyhow, I hope that explains the Cadiz project, and I hope that everybody understands that our water is safe and it is protected.
What was the estimated completion date for the conversion of the streetlights to LED?
You know, I don't have that, Dennis. I can get that for you. It's probably going to take them, I would say, at least probably 90 days just to get ramped up, to get the work orders written, get the materials ordered, and start the process. And then, like anything else, it's probably going to take, you know, I would say at least a few months after that to get it complete.
Okay, thank you. Rosamond Chamber of Commerce, Jack?
Turn your phone off.
Huh? I ain't touching it, I ain't touching it. Tell us all about what's going on. Jack Miller, Rosamond Chamber of Commerce. Not a lot to cover tonight, really. We had 3 grants, 3 new biz grants that were granted. One was for cement on the event center. One was for solar panels over the canopies to offset some costs. And the 3rd grant was for new windows and doors for the chamber itself. And then we're looking into some events for next year, like farmers markets and concerts and things of that nature. I know there is a new email we saw the other day where the Trump organization has a new campaign out for farmers markets. Don't know all the details on that. We're trying to find out, see if there's some funds available on that towards farmers markets. Well, I don't know yet. So we're looking into that. September Fest and Armed Forces Day Parade, September 21st. Starting at 10 a.m. for the parade and 11 a.m. for the festival itself at Dunbar Park as usual. We will be renting the park building. Might have some other displays possibly, maybe from Historical Society or some other organizations, but that's not definite yet. So it'd be a good time. The other thing I wanted to mention, we did get from the Pentagon approved for the flyover. It's just now we have to coordinate with the bases and see if we're going to get the flyover from one of the bases. So we're working on that. It may not come from Edwards, it may have to come from one of the other bases. Depends on who's flying that day. And so it's not a definite, but we got all the approval to make it happen. So. And then the final thing, just something that we're discussing, looking at one of Gene's projects. We're looking into possible grants for maybe installing some charging stations for EV vehicles, electric vehicles. And so we're looking into that. Nothing definite, but we're thinking it'd be nice with the new technology, maybe looking at getting some charging stations. That's really about all I have.
Thank you, John. Southern Kern Unified School District, Carol, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. So, a couple months ago, I told you that we were searching for a new superintendent. Our superintendent has been with us for a month. And I'd like to introduce her to you. This is Barbara Gaines, our new superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson, and I apologize. I have my back to some of you. I'm so sorry about that. First of all, I want to thank the council for allowing Southern Kern Unified School District the opportunity to sort of update you monthly. Actually, today is day 39 for me, but who's counting? It has been a delightful first 39 days as your new superintendent. So I do have a list of a few things that, and if I go over, just kind of do one of these, and I certainly will understand. Currently, as of a few hours ago, our enrollment is at 3,550 students. That's 3,550. That is up from last year, and believe it or not, we are still on a daily basis enrolling students at the district office. We have, last night we had a really good planning meeting at our board meeting, and it provided me the opportunity to go over with my board some of the goals that I've put in place so far in these first few days, and also my goals that I want to use to drive my first year as the superintendent. We also know that we've got new homes coming in on the west side and a possible new apartment building over here on the east side that could be opened as soon as 2021. We're not sure exactly of those completion deadlines yet, but this will force us to probably look at remodernization perhaps of the old Rosamond Elementary School, maybe putting in a couple more portables at West Park. We do have some different ideas there that we're looking into with the board. Today at 3 o'clock, we are in need of a board member. We had one of our board members recently resign. So we, today at 3 o'clock, ended our application time for anyone interested in being a Southern Kern Unified School District board member, so that those candidates will appear in front of the board, I believe on September 4th, answer questions, and hopefully that evening one will be selected and installed as our new board member. Rosamond High School is Rosamond High School Early College Campus. Besides being your superintendent, I'm also a board member at Antelope Valley Community College. I actually remember sitting up there about 5.5 years ago for, we had a debate, and I came out here for the debate. So I'm very excited to say that our early college campus is alive and well at Rosamond High School. We offer about 6 classes this first semester for our high school students to take. If they start as early as in their freshman year, these students can graduate as a senior and also have an AA. So we're really wanting to put that program on steroids. So that's something that we're looking into, keeping all the kids actively enrolled. All of our teaching positions are currently filled. We did post today for a CBO. We need a chief business officer. We're losing our business officer. He's moving out of the area. And so if you know of anybody who would like to be our business financial person, we did fly that position today. The morale, as many of you probably know, do I have a candidate up there?
No.
No, okay.
No, he goes, Donna.
Okay, I just thought, you know, maybe I had one right up here. So the morale in the district this past year has been a little low. As you probably know, we went through we're in the midst of a financial crisis in Southern Kern. But I am happy to say that July 31st, we repaid Kern County $700,000. And so, yes, so we are on the way to recovering. We have a ways to go. We still owe over a couple million, but $700,000 was a substantial payment for, yeah.
How hard could that be?
Gonna have more cookie drives.
Yeah. Can I count on you to help me there?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can buy it, I'll be.
But I've advised all the teachers, all the site admin, classified staff, everybody that I have met with so far, that we need to throw that over our shoulder. None of the people who are employed in Southern Kern currently were responsible for that. And so we need to move on and stay positive, and this too will pass. So that's the morale that I'm trying to promote in our school district. And we had a phenomenal first day of school. I visited all 6 schools, and I was shocked. I really was. It was like, are you sure this is day 1? Because it truly looked like day 30 or 40. Kids were walking in line as if they'd been practicing that for several days. I walked into the office over here at Rosamond Elementary School, and the school secretary and the clerk were sitting in there by themselves. And I was like, this is amazing. No parents, nothing chaotic. So we had a really first
They
day
had
of
the door
school.
locked before you got there.
Maybe. Well, the really odd thing about it is they told me the day before, whatever you do, they said, do not drive down Rosamond Boulevard at a certain time, because you will not, it'll take you forever to get from one school to the other. And so I waited till like 8:05, and then I said, okay, I'm going now. I'm going to start with West Park, go to Tropico, work my way back, and hit all the schools. It was fantastic. I was like, where is all this traffic?
Did we ride in your car?
Yes. It was just a great day for me. What can I say? So again, I'm very interested in the I think it was, what was his name, Lieutenant Williams, his active shooter training. This is something that I have been thoroughly trained by some of the deputies and sheriffs down in the Antelope Valley. One of them being Deputy Lubbock, who has done extensive work with shooter on campus. So this is something that I want to get our staff trained in. And last, I would like to say that on October 20th to the 23rd, Rosamond High School will be up for WASC reaccreditation. So usually when you get accredited by WASC, WASC is Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And this is a critical thing for a high school to have, because it basically says that the classes that the children are getting at Rosamond High School make them eligible to attend a UC or a Cal State or a private university. So on October 20th, it's a Sunday, we will be having the visiting WASC team will come in. The lead on that team is the principal at Bell High School. And so he will be bringing in a team, and they'll be from all over Southern California. And we really need community members to attend. We will have some hors d'oeuvres, refreshments, the band, the board members will be there. I'll be there, the principal of the high school.
There goes the budget.
There goes that budget, yes.
Wait, you need some of us to go and help you with snacks?
Not snacks. I want you to come. I need you to come and represent the community and just be there to support the high school. They will be there. The high school is currently finalizing a self-study report, which they really have to, it's about that big, really have to analyze all of the classes, the teachers, are they highly qualified, what are our students learning. We currently have 10 career technical education programs at Rosamond High School, and we just brought in the Cadet Corps this year. We lost ROTC last year. We brought in Cadet Corps. We'll have Cadet Corps at the high school and at Tropico Middle School, which we're very, very, very excited about. And I'll tell you, the principal of the Bell High School, he visited the auto shop. He took a tour of the high school. He visited the auto shop and the welding shop. and this man could not stop talking. I'm sure he went back to Bell thinking, how do I get an auto shop and a welding shop at my school? So it was a great experience, but when he comes back, he'll have the whole team, and they'll become very, very serious, and they'll be here for 4 days. So unless you have questions, I'm sure I've talked my time up.
Welcome to Rosamond.
Thank you so much.
And I want to say, didn't our board do a fabulous job of picking a new superintendent?
Thank you. I'm Rosamond Community Cleanup. No comment. Antelope Valley Citizens for Responsible Use of Water. I didn't see anything. Okay, and I didn't get a report from him, but I'm sure that our water levels are the same as reported last month. It doesn't change it month to month. Okay, Edwards Air Force Base. Okay, and we have under others, I think there's someone from One Love Ministries here.
Yes, but I wasn't. Tell me that part.
Let's give a little update, Bonnie, of what's going on with One Love Food Ministries.
Well, there's so much.
Just a little short thing
We
for
just
us.
opened a thrift store. It's right behind the watering store on Diamond Street. All the proceeds are going back into the ministry to help fund the gas and all the stuff that we've been doing to bring the food up into this area. We recently acquired on a 12-month loan a 7-stall mobile shower unit, which we're still trying to negotiate water source for, but we're very excited about that. And we are trying to actually establish some sort of location for a shelter where I belong to a church right now that might work, but I don't think I'm very authorized to talk about it without knowing yet. We're really excited though. I mean, with or without county funding, we have a lot of support for the idea already, and it looks like we will probably materialize something anyway for the cold winter kids.
Can you tell everybody how many meals you serve?
Oh my gracious, you're so right. There's so many new things to talk about.
All of the food that,
So,
the days just for food.
So we are One Love Food Ministry, for those of you that don't know. We serve groceries twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays at 4 p.m. We serve anywhere from about 60 to 100 people a week. Here in Rosamond, we don't limit by income or where you live. So we do have people coming from Mojave and other areas. Monday through Friday, we serve breakfast and lunch from 9 a.m. to like noon, 1 o'clock. On Thursdays, we're also serving other groups. So we have churches and other nonprofit organizations that come through on Thursdays from all over the Antelope Valley, and then some. We've got one that comes from Vegas. We've got one that comes from down below. We've got a few that come from Ridgecrest, Cal City area, and they receive from us as well groceries, and they take back to their areas to serve their populations as well. So yeah, when we first got here a few years ago, we had nothing. We didn't even have a forklift. This community's been incredible for us. But we're really most excited about serving it. I mean, everybody's been so supportive here, and that really has made a difference. Expanding our services to help a lot more.
It's my understanding that you are a 501c3, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when people bring their donations, they can get a receipt for their tax purposes. That makes a huge difference.
It does.
Until AB 55 passes.
Okay, you stop.
We also
right there.
Pretty good.
So the groups that we serve are all 501c3 too. That is one of our. We don't have a lot of requirements for serving individuals at all, but when it comes to the groups, they do have to also do 501c3. We don't just serve every Joe that wants to go stick their fingers in a sandwich. We're trying to have some moderation there.
Well, you're doing a good job, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So you're addressing some homeless issues or whatever?
We are addressing as many homeless issues as we possibly can.
Okay, well, that's really great.
Here you go, Gary.
We're happy to serve anybody. You don't have to be homeless. Those are attractive to
No, but
everybody.
Did you know that you can buy a whole little tiny house on Amazon for $10,000?
Isn't that incredible? How come we're already doing that? We should be reducing our footprint.
Yes, you must.
Will you please see me after the meeting regarding the mobile shower unit?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.
See, you had something to say.
I just had to remind her of what she did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Richard Anderson.
Don't write it down.
Richard Anderson,
I don't think he's here.
Kern County
I haven't
Law
seen him.
Enforcement Association.
Marcus was setting that up, and I don't know since Marcus is not here.
Oh, now I know why he's absent.
Not mad.
Yeah, talk to me.
Okay.
Yesterday, good one.
That's interesting. Okay, community announcements. Any bona fide representatives of community service organizations and clubs are invited to announce upcoming events open to the public. Please limit your presentation to no more than 3 minutes. Public comment period. Any member of the public may address the council regarding any matter of concern to the Rosamond residents. This need not be related to any item on the agenda. Our law prohibits the council from taking action on matters not on the agenda. Please limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Okay.
We like this.
Gary's liking this a whole lot because he's done it to home. Okay, let's move into the business meeting committee reports. The first one here is 10A, new revised crosswalks and upgrades to signalized crosswalks. This is a continuing process. With the information that Greg Wood gave us this evening, it kind of changes the spin of what we were doing. We were also going to be looking at street lighting and stuff like that, especially in the what I call the lesser served areas of the town, such as Gateway Apartments, where going from Gateway to the Rosamond Plaza is pretty dark. We also had the situation with Eagle Way and Rosamond Boulevard for the high school, getting some signal lighting there. The street lighting in that area is poor, as well as on 25th Street, red. So that one is going to ride for a while. Okay, next item, 10B, waste management services. Do you have any updates, Lisa?
So, Greg? Greg is
Yeah. Bill?
Yeah.
In regards to the streetlights, I had a little conversation with Dennis last week about it, but just to kind of give you an update. You know, if you guys want additional streetlights on Rosamond Boulevard or wherever, like I explained, the RCSD does not own any streetlights.
Mm-hmm.
So the Kern County Planning Department is the one that decides how many streetlights are going to be in a tract, you know, a housing tract. So I would say the first place to start would be to contact Kern County Planning, tell them that where you would like to see additional streetlights, and then from that point you'll go to the Board of Supervisors with requests that, you know, we'd like to get 10 or 15 more streetlights, and then it becomes a negotiation between Kern County and Southern California Edison. Once the streetlights are put in and that's all done, then the RCSD will take over the payment of the for the streetlights. In other words, we will pay the energy costs, and that'll be money will come into RCSD to pay the monthly energy consumption.
I'm hoping that the LED lighting will be such that the young airmen coming off the base won't assume that Edwards Air Force Base continues for another 4 or 5 miles.
Right. But it's like anything else, you know, they would have to do a study, and they would have to determine, you know, do they want more streetlights there? And it's just like any other traffic study that they do. So that's where I would suggest you start with Lorelei first, and then that can get the ball rolling there, and then can direct you to move the project along through her department.
Actually, building on that, I was in Bakersfield today. and met with Supervisor Scribner on a whole different thing, but I touched on it briefly, and I said, and I've asked him for a name of a public works person that we can start working with. But it seems to me, and it seems to him too, that with Edison revamping all these streetlights from whatever they are now to the LED, that once that's in, then we need to do a survey on where the darkest places are and where the need is the greatest, and then work from that up. But we don't really know what that will be until those lights are in. So that's why I was asking about the completion date, which, and I guess the more salient question is, well, when are they going to start? So we don't know that either.
Dennis, at the next meeting, I'll have a completion date for you.
Okay, so, but that will get the ball rolling, and then I have to believe that the better light, and it is better lighting, correct?
LED is gonna give you better lighting than what we have now.
So once that's in, then we need to survey and say, where are the spots where the needs are the greatest? I did mention to him that we probably were looking at all the way from the base boundary out to at least 60th, having really good lighting eventually, but initially, especially because of the concerns that have been expressed by the base, from the base boundary to the freeway at least, but then hopefully through the ways beyond that. So, because this is a public safety issue, this falls within the purview of our charter, which is public health and safety issues. So now that I understand, thanks to Greg's explanation, that they only pay the bill, then that's really up to us to, spearhead that. So if you have any input on where you think we need more lighting, we would like to hear that.
One thing that I just being fairly new to Rosamond is coming off Sierra Highway like Santa Maria. I really have to look at the railroad crossing or the yellow sign to even know that there's something there. Like the signs themselves are not easily apparent, even when you're damn near under them. No reflectivity.
Well, if you go into the ditch, you could find it really easy.
Pardon me?
If you go into the ditch, you could find it really easy.
Okay. Well, if people will slow down, I'll probably end up there.
Well,
that's one thing I know.
We are looking at arterial lighting. There are certain side streets that feed into Rosamond Boulevard which are not adequately served with lighting.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So.
Well, even just so that you know that it's there to make the turn, because you can't really see the turn until you're on top of it and you're coming across the oncoming traffic.
I noticed it was much easier to see when I was a lot younger.
Yeah, but
things are getting pretty dim.
We'll make that for another meeting.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Okay, Parks and Recreation, community swimming pool, skate park, and Glendower Park. I'm going to let you start that off, Lisa.
Okay. We skipped waste management, so I'll just give you an update on waste management real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so waste management, we did the bulky pickup last month, July 20th. We had 5 bins completely full. How many cars though? Bill did a gate and greeted everyone, by the way. It was awesome.
I'm a senior citizen. I'm entitled to forget that. That was over a month ago.
It was 35, around 35 vehicles, and people actually came.
Actually, it was 60-something.
Was it?
It was 60-something vehicles.
60-something?
Yeah.
Okay.
His mind just remembered.
His mind was better than mine.
And it was a roughly 19,000 pounds.
Oh, wow. Was taken in. So it really went well. We are hoping again for October. We want to do it quarterly. It worked amazing. And I want to appreciate everyone who came. And next time, I will have your water for you.
Oh.
I did bring it.
Can I tell you something that happened when I brought my truckload full of stuff? I dumped off my truckload and then I went out in the desert and picked up some more stuff. They didn't know that you were planning to pick up stuff in the desert. They were going, no, this is only for household items. So you need to communicate with them better.
Okay. Allie did know. I don't know if she passed it on. Allie was made aware that we were going to bring in a few truckloads, and the desert wasn't really picked up that day, by the way. It was not. It was maybe 4 truckloads came in.
Yeah.
From desert dump.
I did a load.
Thank you.
Is there a program for desert pickup? I mean, or even just locally, and people that don't want to go to the dump, and
Right.
all of a sudden a black bag show up, and
So that's what this was for people who can't make it to the dump, or who can't go to the dump. That's what this is for them to quarterly take it to the waste management here. It wasn't necessarily for desert picking up, but if I seen a few big items, or we've seen a few big items, yeah, we picked it up and took it in. So
like
we
a
will
TV
eventually
or stuff like that.
try to arrange that.
Yeah.
But as of right now, October is our next date, right?
Yes, October 20th.
October 20th?
You don't have anybody,
Double check that though.
an employee per se, that would patrol maybe on a weekly basis to go ahead and maybe.
There's no funds for that.
There's no funds for that. It's a private company, private trash company. It's not
But
county.
you can do your neighborhood.
You know, if I could fit it in my Cadillac, I'd do it, you know?
It's got a big trunk, I'm sure.
So as far as parks,
Yeah, I'd have to get rid of the bodies.
So with regards to the October 20th date, is there going to be hazardous waste pickup at any point in time?
No hazardous waste. That all has to go to the Mojave site there at Edward, at Mojave's field.
The airport.
Yeah, the airport.
Yes. That's the only place that hazardous materials can go.
Yeah, it's
I'm
charged.
talking paint,
oils,
yeah.
yes. It's out at the airport.
Paint, batteries, sharps.
Even old medicines.
Old medicine.
All of it.
Yeah.
So,
One of the reasons why they do it in Mojave, folks, is because there has to be special permits, and the permits are allocated for square footage. And they have to cordon everything off, they have to sign, when you go in, you sign your name and you really put your initials and everything down. Everything has to be signed, dotted, T's crossed, and everything. That's why not just any area can get hazmat collections.
Yeah, because they pre-own it till it gets to the grave. You know, whoever takes charge of it.
Okay. Thank you, yes. So Parks and Recreations, as Laurelyn and mentioned, the pool will be open next year. Actually, if you drive by, it's full. They have started work on it already. The pumps are up and running. It looks beautiful. I went in there the other day, took a look around. It's all cleaned up. They're gonna plane the concrete so it's all smooth again and finished. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. So I am glad because now we'll be able to get investors in there to come look at the pool. They've done JP from, as far as the skate park is concerned, I did talk to Bakersfield on Tuesday. They are more than willing to help us do the skate park. Unfortunately, it will be moved to a different park due to demographics. So, but that's still okay with me. We will, as a board, will be discussing it here in the future. The play mats at the Glendower Park will be replaced. A work order has been placed for that. It was placed in July, so that play mat should be here in the next 90 days replaced.
Are those the ones that we're lifting up on the floor that
Yes.
everybody kept talking
Yes.
about?
Yeah.
And that's all I have on Parks and Recreations for right now.
thank you, Lisa. Next, item 10D, New Community Bank. I do not have an update from Alexis on that. As a few of you know, we did have a couple of meetings on this with some representatives from United Security Bank. We met also out at RCSD's office and talked about things, and we went for a bit of a tour, and that's basically where it stands. Nothing has been decided. We haven't heard back from them, so we have to follow up with them. Hopefully Alexis has something, we'll get something out on the RMAC website about that. Okay, old business. East Rosamond access for emergency vehicles. We have our draft letter done for this. I've given it to a couple of folks to take a look at the main body of the letter. So that's going on. I'm finishing up some of the attachments for it because there are some holes as far as our data collection goes on the train stoppages on Rosamond Boulevard. And so I'm still trying to find other sources that I can try to determine what the total number is of train stoppages or problems with the signal arms, things of that nature. But just in the 2 years of data I've looked at so far, there's been 14 incidents, including one automobile accident with a train. So there are hazards with that track. When there's a situation where a train malfunctions, you're kind of locked in. That train's going to stop wherever it stops at. If they stop in an area where they're essentially across a block in their signaling system, it will take out that signal light as well. So those are some things that are involved in this. I'm sure some of you have heard about, you know, maybe one day we would have an overpass over that. It's just too expensive. It's just not going to be something that the county wants to put in down here. We can do an alternate road down 10th Street West, south toward Patterson. And I've run some preliminary estimates on it. And it looks like we can do that with crushed aggregate base, some grading and compaction for about $1 million. So that's roughly 3 miles, which is, from my background in construction management, is not that bad of a number. Okay. The only thing we have under the administration office space, files, and equipment, we're still waiting for furniture. We got the request in kind of late, so it's no one to blame except me, perhaps.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Are we gonna use that senior citizen or think that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I only use that once a day, so. Okay, the next item is RMAC special vacancy notices. Dennis was up in Bakersfield today, and Zach re-emphasized he'd like to see the RMAC back up to full manning. If you are interested in serving your community, please see one of us. We'll help you with the paperwork that you need to fill out. We'll send it off. Hopefully one of us knows you real well and can make a glowing recommendation and stuff. And the reason why it's important, the job doesn't pay any money, so I can't tell you that you're going to enjoy that part of it. But the thing that you can enjoy is when you see something get accomplished that has been a project that you wanted to see happen. And people will notice those things over a period of time and will come to appreciate the fact that you're willing to give of your time without compensation to the betterment of the community, and I'll appreciate that. Okay, so if you're interested,
do a crosswalk at Rosamond. You're just gonna do the crosswalk over there.
They're just getting up to speed at that point.
No. He's ready to go to Tom's at 6, so you only have him from, say, 5:15 to 5:45.
Not meaning to tease you like that.
To the kids, I know I was.
If you go to the Kern County website, there's poke around for committees and boards, and it's all right there. We can help you navigate that if you need to. But it's on the Kern County website for boards, commissions, committees.
Committees, boards, and something like that.
Something like that. It's easy enough to find, but if you want to make a positive difference in your community, this is a good way to do it.
Okay, new business, we're not going to talk about that this month. I didn't get anywhere with it. Okay. Item 13, Director's Agenda Referrals. Dennis, do you have anything?
No.
Donna? I do not. How about you, Lisa?
Not at this time.
we're still working on